This is David from Geek Legacy.
Oh boy.
All right, 50th anniversary of Star Trek. You know, you were there from the beginning of your life.
Well, from the beginning of my life, yeah.
And so tell us about the new show. Now, what's going to separate it from, all the other shows? Every other show seems to be different in their own way.
Go for it, Trevor.
I think that, one of the things that was talked about in the panel by Bryan is the idea of it not being episodic in nature, that it's sort of being linear in nature, as serial. And I think that is appropriate for what we're trying to achieve, and yet very different than anything we've seen in the past from Star Trek. So I think that along with the new platform that it's coming out on, and I think the new way people will consume it, it will be a brand new experience, but hopefully one that they're going to sort of journey back and say it still's got that Star Trek in it.
Now, when you say linear, do you mean maybe a season-long arc, like maybe we saw an Enterprise, like in the third season with the whole Xindi War, things like that, or when you say not episodic?
The idea of telling, I don't want to say a singular story,
right,
but a story that goes sort of again through these sort of chapters, and at the same time is about one thing, as opposed to it being completely cut off after every time
like
you're done.
Like a Freak of the Week type format.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, obviously, you've been in Star Trek forever. Star Trek. Big geeks, we're all about geeking out here. Now, what do you geek out about?
It's an overused term, but I love disruptive innovation. I love the thinkers out there that are really trying to change the world for the better. Elon Musk is a perfect example. But the ones who look at a system, or they look at the way something's done and they say, that doesn't make sense, or we can do it better. And so they go in and they change it. And I love that. And I think we need more of that. So, and that's not just in technology, but in methodology and ideology. People are willing to think outside the box. And my father was spectacular at that. He would have, when he was with a group of people, he would find a topic and he would find the most controversial sort of angle to sort of look at it. And he would argue that angle just to get everyone else in the room to think a little differently.
Nice.
And I love that.
And finally, what do you think your father would think of you now being in the big chair in Star Trek?
It's hard for me to say. I think he'd be very proud. I think he'd be very proud.
We are with Scott Bakula, the undisputed greatest captain of the Enterprise ever. No pressure. You are the greatest. You are my favorite captain of the Enterprise.
Gone, right?
He's way gone. Don't worry. I said the same thing to him.
I know you
no,
did.
I'm
Of
just
course,
kidding.
that's smart.
Now,
that's why you're here.
That's right. Now, Star Trek has so many fans, and we love to geek out about things. So I want to know, what do you geek out about? What are you passionate about that you love, you collect, whatever?
What do I geek out about? I don't know. I'm not like a geek out kind of a guy. I'm a sci-fi guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I in general, I kind of eat. People say, well, you're doing sci-fi. I said, I love sci-fi. I don't know what to say about it. How come you keep getting cast in sci-fi stuff? I said, I guess I go in the room believing.
There you go.
It's like, yeah, all right, so you get shot and then you come back to life because you were a plant and the sun hits you. And I was like, okay, I'll do it because I think somehow that it's going to happen.
Awesome. What do you geek out about? What are you passionate about?
Flying.
Flying? Are you a pilot?
I'm a pilot. Because of Star Trek, I was able to feed my need for speed, and I've flown with a lot of the different frontline Air Force units around the world, which has been great.
Right. Got tired of taking orders. You're like, I'm going to fly this on my own.
And well, you know what? You still got to take orders from the guy in front. That's the only thing. So, but yeah, that's my geek out.
Awesome. How long have you been flying?
Since 1988.
Oh, wow.
But like I said, people geek out about us. I geek out about test pilots.
Nice.
The old 60s and 70s test pilots.
Wow.
I saw this one guy, Scott Crossfield, who flew the first X-15. And I was walking through this Oshkosh, and I see this little old guy. He's walking in a cowboy hat. I'm like, oh my God, it's Scott Crossfield. And I was like, the Star Trek fans, like, I couldn't speak.
You're one of those.
So.
Now, you've been in more episodes of Star Trek than anybody else. Is that something you wear, a badge of honor?
I didn't really think about it until the last few years, and then when it started to become more and more a thing in the media. And yeah, definitely. But I look at it as, if I'm done Like if somebody came down who's knowledgeable and says you can't work ever again, ever in life, in the business, I would say I'm perfectly happy.
Nice.
Because that's a career. I mean, you're talking about 278 episodes and 5 movies that span the two.
It's a lot of gum getting put on your head to put
Oh,
that cap
God.
on.
but it's one of those things where that's quite a career.
It
Talk about
is.
11 years and nobody, I mean, how many people in this business have done that?
No, that's amazing. And now how have the fans changed over the years? Now we have the internet and everything like that. Is it the same? Is there more love, more criticism? How do you judge fans now?
We got a lot of criticism when we first started, but that ended fairly quickly. But the fans are the same. It's just that we're talking to their daughters and sons and grandsons now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I said over there that, the most amazing thing is that people always talk about, it was that hour that I bonded with my father. That was the hour that I loved because it was just he and I, and I thought that was amazing. So it's only, we feel like we're like Kirk now, or Shatner, because now we're talking to grandsons and daughters.
Right.
And, my dad was a big fan of your show, and so.
On my Enterprise, we
On
did it
my-
this way. Well, you're going to executive produce the new show. Now, when Kathleen Kennedy took over Star Wars, she made it a big point to make sure that women were going to be well represented, and she's knocked it out of the park. What are your plans for something like that for equality in science fiction?
First of all, I love Kath as a female who does what I do. Like, she's like the bar.
Right.
So to even like say her name, it's very flattering, and God, I hope I live up to that. But no, I think fortunately Bryan Fuller, that's a big thing for him too, the representation of women. But yes, I mean, we try to do that in all the shows that we produce. I'm fortunate enough to work on this great show, Sleepy Hollow, and the character of Abby Mills was she was never defined by her relationship with Ichabod Crane. It was really about who she was as a character, and that's very important in how we're approaching Star Trek. And that you see women in positions you haven't seen them in before, and you see them relate to one another that you haven't seen them do before, and that they can portray a level of strength, and that's a positive thing, because a lot of times in all of our businesses, women of strength, there's a negative with that,
Right.
and that's really a big deal.
Okay. Now you're going to release it on the paid service for CBS All Access.
Yes.
Are there any concerns about viewership, or is there like an alternative model? I don't know. Were you involved in this process, or do they just tell you you're putting the show here?
Yes, I was not involved in deciding. It will be for the first episode's going to air on Big CBS, on CBS Network, and then it'll be available on CBS All Access. I mean, right now I'm not worried. I feel like people who want to see it are going to want to see it, and what's great is there's going to be a lot of other exciting content coming on All Access. There's a Good Wife spinoff, and there's other shows that they have in the works. I mean, as someone who's making the show, I feel like I can only make the best show I can and hope that people seek it out.
That's all we want to hear.
That's all I can do.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much
Yeah.
for your time, and enjoy
Sure.
the rest of your convention.
Thank you.
Your filmography is full of just fan-based projects that everyone loves. Pushing Daisies, Hannibal. And is this something that interests you? Are you making stuff for the fans, or are you making stuff for you that the fans just happen to love?
It's the former. I feel like the responsibility of any writer or any storyteller is to tell a story that you yourself want to see, and you are the first person in the audience, and you can only accurately gauge what you need in a story. So it is about finding like-minded folk.
Awesome. And now, have you put your stamp on the Star Trek universe with this show? Is there something unique that we're going to take away from this?
I hope that you look at Discovery as a unique iteration of Star Trek, because otherwise there's no point in it existing unless we're breaking new ground.
Awesome. And as one last question, this takes place in the Prime universe, correct?
Yes, not the Kelvin universe, in the Prime universe.
All right, and we're not releasing what timeline it is yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
That may come out in Comic-Con, I'm not sure.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Or
Enjoy
not
the rest-
Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but same thing, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, enjoy the rest of your convention.
Thank you so much.
No
Have a
problem.
great time.